Guys, welcome back. I thought I'd do a little get ready with me makeup tutorial, everyday routine kind of thing. Nobody asked for this, but this is what I do most days. I do tend to switch up my products a little bit, just depending on the mood, depending if I have fake tan on or not. But yeah, this is pretty much what I do every day. Pretty quick, pretty easy, and I use a lot of products that are good for pale gals like myself. So let's get started. So I've never filmed a makeup video before, so this setup is kind of crazy. Like my mirror's down here and then things everywhere, so if I'm like looking all sorts of places, just be nice to me. So I start with brows. So I use this huge thing of got2b brow gel. It's the best thing for sticking down my brows. I've tried soap brows, I've tried all sorts of other brow setters, those little brow mascaras, all of those things. Nothing sticks down my brows like this got2b gel. It is a huge tube, so it's a little bit inconvenient, but it really does the job, so I would highly recommend it if you've got stubborn eyebrows like me. So I literally just, here's my tube. Literally just squeeze a little bit out on the tube and I get it on this crusty dusty spoolie that I have. This literally has eyebrow hair stuck in it. That's disgusting. Okay, so I get a little bit of product, just kind of swish it around in the little bit so it's a bit more evenly distributed, and then I just run it straight through my brows. So I'm lucky that my brows are quite dark naturally, but they're quite thin in the tail, so I just like to kind of shape them a little bit more, get them a bit more. Also, my brows are so uneven, guys. So uneven. Say this one's my good eyebrow. The other eyebrow, she's lacking. She doesn't have hairs. The shape is non-existent. She's just really not pulling her weight, but that's why we've got eyebrow gel. So I kind of just brush my brows just in the shape that they are. So I normally just kind of do an up and out motion and then kind of just smooth it down with the brush. I do like to kind of fluff up the front of my brows a little bit. I just think it looks cute. I have no other reason, I just like it. Just repeating on my other brow now, and you'll see what I mean about this brow. She does not pull her weight. She just sucks. Not the piece of hair that I just pulled out. Tell me why slick back buns are so hard. Why did this take me like 20 minutes and I look bald and it's not even slick, like it's messy, it's already falling out. I have beef with slick backs because my hairline, she's not cute. I have a really big forehead and I'm trying to be more comfortable with that. But also I have bangs, so trying to stick those back is just awful. But my hair was super greasy and I didn't want you guys to have to look at that. So I'm actually doing you a service, you're welcome. Alright, so just finished gluing down my brows. As you can see, they're super uneven, but we'll go in a little bit of some powder and fill them in. I don't typically use primer, I don't find it helps. It doesn't do anything for me. I have already prepped my skin. I've used the Glow Recipe Niacinamide, like watermelon glow drops, and then just my normal like cleanser and moisturizer this morning. For foundation, I switch between a few things, so it really depends on if I have tan on and how good my skin looks that day. At the moment, she's pretty rough, not gonna lie. I don't know what's been going on. I think I started having dairy again in the past few months, and I feel like that's what's causing it. But I don't know, I have a lot of healing breakouts, a lot of scarring, just all sorts of things going on. So if I have fake tan on, I really like the NARS Sheer Glow foundation. I wore that when I got married, I wore that when I got my wedding photos, I wore that to my reception. It's just beautiful. It's a great foundation. I can't wear it all the time because it is too dark for me. It's the color I wear when I fake tan, and I'm too cheap to buy it in a paler shade. So when I am pale, I like to use either the Clio Kill Cover in the pink case. Oh, that one's really pretty. It's a little dark for me as well, but I can get away with it. But for days like today, what I've really been liking is Tower 28 tinted sunscreen. Again, somehow still a little dark for me, even though this is a lighter shade, but it's just really sheer. It gives a really nice glow. And I like to just apply it straight on my face. So I'm just going to put it on with this Morphe brush of some description. It's just like a flat foundation brush. I'm just going to literally apply it just straight like this. Is this sanitary? No, but you know, everybody makes mistakes. Everybody has those days. Now she's on. I don't use a lot just because, like I mentioned, she's a little dark, and I also find I just don't look great with a lot of like foundation on because I am very freckly. I feel like my skin looks kind of muddy when I apply too much product, so I try to keep it light and just build it up in layers where I can. You can see when I slicked back my head. When I slicked back my head, what When I slicked back my hair, I conveniently styled my bangs over this like part of my forehead. I have like really wide temples or something, I don't know. And you can just see already, it's so glowy and pretty. I love her. We love Tower 28. I don't know if I love Tower 28 actually, this is the only product I own from them, but I've heard they're good. So foundation's on. For concealers, I use a couple of different ones. So when for really deep like acne scars like what I have at the moment, I totally just put this brush on my white shirt. I hope it's okay. I use the NARS little pot concealer. It's just the best. It just has the best coverage. It covers scarring really well. And I just go straight in with another little Morphe concealer brush, just straight into the pot and just kind of dab off the excess in the lid. And I'm just gonna go straight in. And I like this concealer because you can get away with using so little and it just covers so well. Look at that, already looking so much better. So I'm just gonna go through and conceal where needed. You can tell most of my problem area is around my chin and my jawline. So I think it's hormonal, but I think it has also been triggered by drinking dairy again, I'm not sure. Because I've always got like a couple hormonal breakouts like around the time of my period, but this is like unlike anything I've ever had. Google says it might be dairy, so I'm just gonna go with that. I started drinking almond milk again, and it's weird. I used to be a big almond milk girly for years, and then I switched to oat milk, and then I switched back to cow milk because I was trying to get those gym gains, and I thought it had more protein, so I switched back, but here I am. I'm also just doing a little bit just around the sides of my nose. It's very red up in there, very creasy. So I'm just blending all of that out with the little Morphe concealer brush, and then just going over it with my foundation brush and making sure it's all blended in. Does anybody else's nose also run when they do their makeup? I don't know what it is. Like my nose gets so drippy, like I'm not even sick, it just happens. Okay, so I like to contour and do my blush before I do my under eye concealer, and it's because I tend to go a little overboard, so the concealer kind of evens out everything once I'm done. So for my contour slash bronzer, I use this Fenty Matchstick. I use the shade Amber. This is okay. I like the color, but I feel like it's a little dry, a little hard to blend out, so she's fine. Like, I have it, so I'm going to keep using it. So I just put that around my big ass forehead, a little bit on my cheeks here, just kind of roughly on my nose. I don't really contour my nose, but it's just so it doesn't look like it's not part of my face. And then I do quite a lot on my chin and jawline. Guys, my biggest insecurity is my chin. I have a super round face, and it's like a genetic thing. Like everybody in my family has this, everyone on my dad's side of the family has this, where we just have like no jawline. I hate it. It's like there's literally photos of me being like a tiny little child, and I still have this like wild double chin. Does anyone know how to get rid of this? I think I'm gonna go to Korea next year and I'm gonna get this fixed. It's my biggest insecurity. I feel like she's always there, so I like to contour quite heavy. And then I just have this brush. This is from Zoeva, but I've had this for forever. I think it says face paint brush. I couldn't tell you. It's just kind of flat and looks like that. Just go in and start patting all of that in. As I said, I feel like this is a little bit hard to blend out, so I like to use a brush or something more stiff. I feel like when I use a beauty blender, it just doesn't do the job. Pat all of that in, and then I'll go in with my foundation brush again. Just make sure it's all blended. Guys, this hair, I can't deal. How do you slick back girlies do it? Because I just feel like I look like an egg. A bald egg. Let me be a little vulnerable for a minute. I have something called trichotillomania. I've been working on it for a long time, but for people who don't know, it's basically a hair pulling disorder, and it can be related to all sorts of things. So people with anxiety, stress, OCD. I started doing it a few years ago out of stress, and it has been something that's stuck with me forever. I've always been a nail biter and like a nail like skin picker as well, and it kind of just progressed into hair as well as I got older. And I have been working on it. I've done a lot of work with a psychologist. I've all sorts of doctor's appointments, all sorts of things. But because of that, my hair is very broken still around my hairline and around the crown of my head from where I used to pull. So when I do these slick backs and things, I feel like all my hairs are just sticking out, but I'm trying so hard to be okay with it because it is what it is. I'm very insecure about my hair. I'm working really hard though to grow it back, to grow it long and healthy. My hair is a very big trigger for me, so if you see me like playing with my hair all the time, that is why. Look at us getting all open and vulnerable today. I love it. So I'm just gonna go in, just pat that out a bit with my foundation brush. Didn't even blend in the bronzer on my nose. Good job. Now for blush. I don't always wear blush. It kind of just depends on my mood. If I have fake tan, I always wear blush because it just kind of ties it together. It gives me a bit more color. I'll do a little bit today. I like to use this blush from Rare Beauty. This is the shade Happy. I do love a very pinky peachy blush. And I use just a really small amount. Again, I feel like if I use too much product over my freckles, I just kind of look muddy and weird. So I'm literally just gonna do like one dot and just build up from there. I just use the same foundation brush because I'm lazy and it works. Just like that. It's literally the tiniest bit. I might do a little bit more actually. It might be okay. Let's leave it at that. Let's not go too overboard. All my under eye concealer, I have two things that I use. So I have this corrector from the Seam, I don't know. It's like a pink salmon under eye corrector. As you can see, I have the most like metal dark circles under my eyes. Again, I think it just comes from being really pale. I have crazy dark circles. I really can't cover them. I've tried a lot of things and it's just impossible to get them fully covered without looking like insane and cakey. But using a corrector helps a lot. So you can see it's like this really pale kind of pinky peachy color. So it helps a lot just to cancel out some of the blueness in my under eyes. That's the thing as well. I feel like when I conceal my under eyes, I can get them covered up, but they always look a little bit grey just because it's so dark under there. I'm just wiping off the same concealer brush I used earlier. We're about efficiency here, guys. I don't have that many brushes and it does the job. It's fine. And I'm just going to pat that in under my eyes, kind of like that. And some days I would just use like a tiny dot of corrector just to brighten a little bit. So I'm just going to let that dry down a little bit. The concealer I like to use is from Hourglass. This is the, I don't know, Vanish concealer, I think. I have the shade Birch. This was really expensive, but it's actually really, really good. Like I've quit TikTok. I hate TikTok, but the girlies were right about this. This concealer it's great. It's like so thin, but the coverage is so full. I love her. I think she's magical. Carries a lot of product as well. So I'm just wiping some of the excess on the inside of the bottle. Just going to do, ooh, it's a bit much, just like that, and then kind of out towards my cheekbone just to lift that area a little bit. I apply it a little bit lower down as well because my dark circles are right here, they're not under my eye, so I try to avoid putting product there. And also I'm quite a creasy gal. Let's be real, I'm not that young. I'm 26, guys, so I've got wrinkles under my eyes and that's fine. So I try to avoid putting product right up underneath where I can because it's just going to crease up and look wrinkly and dusty and crusty. So I'm blending all of this out with the same concealer brush again. And as well, dragging it up here just kind of lifts my whole face. I'll go in and blend this a bit more as well. I just kind of want to get the product on there. You can see already how much more lifted that looks. I don't really apply concealer to my eyelids unless I'm doing eyeshadow, which is basically never. My eyelids are quite dark, but I actually kind of like the effect that it gives. It's almost like a natural little eyeshadow vibe going on. Maybe that's Delulu. Maybe you're thinking, Lydia, you just look like you've been punched in the eye. Maybe, but let me live in my little Delulu fantasy. Just going to go in and blend that now with my foundation brush, and then I'll probably do a little bit more concealer just on the very inner kind of part of my eye just to brighten that a little more. And when I powder all of this, it does look a little bit brighter too, but that will do for now. Just making sure that's all blended. Okay. So all my cream products are on now. So when I look at this in the viewfinder, I look like crazy. I promise this looks normal in person, guys. I'm going to go in and set my face. I use the Huda Beauty powder and the color Sugar Cookie. It's just the like light-ish translucent one. I just use a little powder puff to set my face. So I'm just gonna dust out some of the powder. I take this powder with me when I'm traveling a lot, and let me tell you, it looks awfully suspicious when on the counter of the sink in the hotel I'm staying in, there's white powder. Just making sure everything's blended in. This powder really is magical. It's the most smoothing, just heavy duty, good powder I've ever used. It's a great descriptor, it's a good powder. I'm just going in and just setting, just where I've applied that concealer around my scarring. I'll set the sides of my mouth and nose because I get really greasy there. A bit on my big ass forehead. And then I'll just make sure my under eyes are all blended and apply some powder there too. I go a bit heavier with the powder under my eyes because I've got so much concealer there and I really want to keep it all set and nice and bright and in place. I also drag it over my eyelids too, just to make sure they're dry, I guess, for when I go and apply eyeliner later. So that's my setting powder done. Next I like to go in with a powder bronzer. This is the Makeup by Mario one. Do this in the same areas that I used that Fenty contour earlier. She is like getting really used. I use the crap out of this. So just bring a bit more color just around my forehead again. These hairs, guys, I can't deal. I can't. A little bit on my cheeks. I kind of squeeze the brush when I do my cheeks just to make sure it's a bit more like concentrated in my cheek area. Do a little, just kind of roughly over my nose. I don't really do anything here. I just want my nose to not look like a beacon of pale in the center of my face. And then just around my jawline, kind of roughly down there. I do also have a powder blush, which I sometimes use. Again, I don't always wear blush. It really just depends on my mood that day. I really like this blush from Miss Kylie Jenner. The color is Winter Kissed. It's like this really cute baby pink. I think she's really pretty. So I've got just another Zoeva brush. This says Sheer Cheek. I've had these brushes for so long. I don't even know if you can get them anymore. Just taking a little bit. I'm a bit scared of blush, so I tap it off a bit. And then just kind of stipple it just on the top of my cheek here. Because my face is so round, I like to keep everything kind of up if I can to give me a little bit more shape, a little bit more snatched vibes. I also put it on my nose just because I think it's cute. There's no reason. Okay, highlighter. I have this highlighter that I've been using for so long. I literally have makeup tutorials from like 8 years ago where I'm still using this highlighter. It's just the best. Not this same actual highlighter, but the same one. Do you get what I'm saying? This is from e.l.f. The lid is broken. I've dropped it on the floor so many times and she's shattered, but it's the e.l.f. highlighter. I think the color is Moonlight Pearls. She is gorgeous. I've been using this for forever and just nothing else hits. I've bought like expensive highlighters and this one is just, she just does it for me. She's just beautiful. Just gives the prettiest glow. I just love her. I just used a brush. I bought this from Mecca, I want to say. The brand is LYS. I don't know what it is, but it's just kind of like a fluffy highlighter brush. And then I have this teensy tiny little brush from Zoeva again. I think this is like a pencil. It's like a pencil smudging brush or something, but it's really good for highlight. So I just use it just on my Cupid's bow and under my brow like that. And then I really like a shiny nose, so I have this second highlighter. This is the Rare Beauty one. It's I don't know what it's called. It's the highlighter that always shatters. Mine is also shattered, so I'm a bit scared to open this. I ordered this from Sephora and it showed up broken, so I've never used this highlighter when it's not broken, but the one positive of that is that I feel like it's more pigmented because it is broken. So I like to use this highlighter just on my nose. Look, so cute, so glowy. I love her. And then on my inner eye corners as well. Alright, so that's kind of the face done. So now I like to go in with setting spray. I have this one from Charlotte Tilbury. It does the job. I haven't used a whole lot of setting sprays, so I don't really know what's good and what's not, but I feel like this makes my makeup feel very like glued on my face. Do you like my fan? It says Malibu on it. I got this at a music festival, like literally last year, and I kept it because I'm a hoarder, but it's actually really come in handy for drying my setting spray. Right, so the base is done. My camera's dying. My camera's dying. This is great. So now we're kind of up to the final details. First thing I do, so I bought this brow pencil from Urban Decay. It's the Urban Decay Brow Blade, and it's got like the pencil in one end and the like felt tip brush in the other. This color, maybe I just bought the wrong one, I don't know. It's really red, like when I put it in my brows it looks straight up ginger. So I can't wear this in my brows, but I do like to draw some of my freckles back on, and I find the little pen tip of this is really good for that. So I have this one above my brow that I always draw back on, and I do it really light, like it's a very subtle kind of thing. These ones above my brows I always draw back on. Okay, so for my actual brows, I use an eyeshadow palette that I didn't bring into this room. Hold on. Okay, I use this palette from Clio. It's the Clio Lazy Soft Pour. I started using this because, as I said, I don't like the brow pencil I got, and it's got this brown color in it. So I like to use that just with this tiny little brush. This is actually a nail brush, but it's really tiny and cute and small, so it's good for doing brows. So I literally just take the brush in the eyeshadow and just start filling in. I don't do a whole lot of filling in my brows. This shape just needs a bit more definition, so that's what I like to do. I used to be a big dip brow girly. I loved that full dark Instagram brow, but in my old age I'm doing my brows a little bit softer. And I think it makes me look a bit less mean as well. I have a chronic resting bitch face, so doing a slightly softer brow I think really helps with that. This is also the part where I try to get my eyebrows to look a little bit more even. It doesn't always happen, but just a girl out here doing her best, really. Okay, brows are done. Are they even? No, but it's fine. So for eyes, I don't do eyeshadow or anything just because I just don't. I'm just an eyeshadow girly. My eyelids are really hooded. You probably can't tell that much, but they're really hooded and baggy and uneven. So it's easier for me just to kind of focus on eyeliner and not the eyeshadow. I do have this little stick. This is from, I don't know, but it says Twinkle Pop Glittering Eye Stick. I'll find out the brand, I'll put it on the screen. I bought this in Japan, and it's just like a little tiny little eye pencil, and it's just really sparkly and pretty, so I like to put that just on the inner corners on my eyes, just to bring a little fun, a little edge, especially for the Teen Vogue Awards. Now I'm going to do something controversial and apply mascara before putting on winged eyeliner. I think I started doing it though because I would put on my eyeliner and then go to curl my lashes and take off half my eyeliner. So I started doing it this way, and it's actually kind of better. I feel like I can like shape it to my eye a little bit better because I've got that base of mascara to follow. So I'm just going to curl my lashes. I have this lash curler. It's a lash curler. I bought it at Daiso. It does the job. I am quite lucky to be blessed with pretty long lashes. They just don't hold a curl very well. They stick straight like bug legs. For mascara, I use the Too Faced Better Than Sex Waterproof. This is also just fine. Like, it's good. It's a good mascara, but my favorite one is the Peri Pera like Long Lash Waterproof or something. I first bought it when I went overseas in Thailand, and I went into, I think it was a W Cosmetics or something, and I bought this mascara, and it changed my life. It's a little bit harder to get here in Australia, hence why I've ended up with Too Faced. And it's fine. The Peri Pera one is just a lot better, but I'm going to Japan in a couple of weeks, so I might try and stock up while I'm over there. Mascara's on, and it's fine. Like, it's just a nice mascara. It's not amazing in my opinion. So because I'm a crazy person and I do my eyeliner after mascara, I like to let that dry down a little bit first. While I'm doing that, I'll line my lips. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk lip liner. Why am I paying this much for a lip liner and I have to sharpen it? Please tell me, Charlotte, please. But I really like the colour, and I just line my lips. I kind of overline my top lip just on my Cupid's bow to make it a little bit more rounder, just because I think it's cute. Just kind of like that, and some days I'll just wear like a clear gloss or like lip treatment. Like, I really love the Summer Fridays one, so sometimes I'll just whack that on top, call it a day. I'm a big fan of these Romans like lip tints and like lip glazes and stuff. I have a couple of these. This is the Dewy Full Water Tint in the colour Peach Mocha. And I just love these. They're just pretty. They give you a nice stain. They're like natural, but they're also like a little bit of colour. Just gonna put her on. The other colour I really like of this is called Bare Grape, I think. It's a bit more of a cool toned pink, and I kind of just switch it up depending on what the vibe is that day. But yeah, big fan of these. I would recommend. Now we're up to eyeliner. So I use just an e.l.f. liquid liner. This is another product I've been using for years, and it's just good and it does the job, and it's really cheap and affordable. So I don't know how I'm going to show you this. I might do it off camera. Okay, eyeliner is done. It's another one of those things where it also looks a bit different every day. Some days I like to do the little point in the inner corner. I don't normally do it if I'm just going to work or something, but we'll do it today just for funsies. And I try to keep it quite fine because I feel like my eyes are already pretty close together, so I don't really want to exaggerate that. And then sometimes if I want, I do have a black pencil liner. This is just from Mecca, it's just the Mecca brand. And I'll do a little bit just in the outer corner just to kind of bring a bit more definition to my eyes. Okay, so that's the completed makeup look. Thank you for watching. I need to wrap this up really fast because my camera is dying yet again. But I hope this was helpful or somewhat interesting. If you got any fun makeup tips or tricks, definitely let me know in the comments. I'm not very good at makeup, so I'm always looking for advice. And yeah, thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.